Can you believe it? It's real. Well, yeah, I don't know. This scene I'm showing here should not be demanding at all, but okay, it's starting to get up to where it's supposed to be. Almost okay. Now it's shooting at 30 FPS. It's just kind of grinding up till the full load. I need some investigatory uh, things done of things for my knowledges of impacts. Oh, and okay, I'm grabbing this whole thing. I forgot. I had this thing set up right. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself to be amazed, awakened, astounded, overflowing with ebullient effulgence of recalcitrant uh, mephistification of ramification, of severe castigation regarding the circumstances of the situation with the next thrilling installment of the chapter of the episode of the adventures of the thing that this is. Um, I am the reading cow, Garth, David. I'm the Garth guy from Moon Lab. And as per usual, yeah, I can't. Okay, I've started two Plarium, Plarium plays. Okay, I can see the blazing. Well, really, I should just have waited to get on. I really should have. But I was like, dang it. Um, I'm trying to get my sleep acclimated. I do my stream before my daughter gets up in the morning, so I'm supposed to be up at 3:30 a.m. and do all my stuff around the house, my activism and everything, my human rights work and my water distilling, purifying water, and get a little bit of breakfast in 1 hour and get down here and start by 4:30. And yeah, it's hard. Okay, so I've got Macarena in front of me. Let's see if I can get my head on straight. Um, I was thinking, and this goes out to my buddy JL. Um, I had talked about the last time about what had happened after you had left. Um, I eventually had to. Well, for first, basically, I didn't want to repair computers forever, and so I got an opportunity to merge with the multimedia group, which offered an avenue for. Since the Board of Regents was buying a lot of Autodesk software, they were kind of saying, well, if you guys can help us integrate this more advanced software into our curriculum, we'll make an opportunity for you. So I was staying after work and learning how to use a lot of Autodesk applications like Lightscape, and my at the outset, Maya was still belonged to Silicon Graphics, so we were there in that working in that area while Silicon Graphics was gradually uh, descending into bankruptcy or whatever happened to them or whatever. Um, so from '96 or so, when I graduated, um, I got into the multimedia group, and as I mentioned before, they were really a corrupt group. Oh, we're really high tech. So we do stuff that nobody can do but us, which is nothing. But they had, I mean, there was a tendency. There was one guy. I won't mention him, but he was obese and had a very big recurring ingrown toenail problem. So a guy that would have trouble walking or whatever. He was actually a really kick butt computer repair guy, and I used to love to go with him to watch him take machines that really today they would just say you got to reformat your machine and reinstall the operating system, and they have images or whatever that they just roll out into the office or whatever. So that it was sort of, I went into there. I was in that multimedia group, and eventually I got out. And I guess that guy drove it into the ground or whatever. I know that they asked him to resign when somebody did that. Iraq War veteran did a affirmative action thing on him for hiring him when they got all these people up there and making him do all the work. All the schlepping. Man, did Macarena crash or is it there? Okay, it says it's coming up. But there's this build up to the Iraq War again, and they were gonna cut all our budgets and everything like that. There was all this discussion of like, well, all the jobs are gonna go to China if you lazy people don't work harder. That was kind of the mantra that you're getting from the uppity up muckety mucks, right? And I was, oh well, if that's the case, I'll just learn Chinese. I got into graduate school in communication theory because I wanted to do something with computer graphics, and I got into television production for the Robinson College of Business. So from '96 until 2005, that's 9 years. Wow, 8 years really, because it was February 2005 when I left for China. And from 3 years back from that, from 2004, 2003, 2002, somewhere in there, I married a Chinese tutor that I had who was Mongolian, Wang Zhongwen, right? And her parents were, especially her father, were very patriotic Chinese, and they were involved in radar technology through the Korean War, and they had a guanxi with a military guy who was actually a Korean War hero that worked in radar, and this guy was sort of like, well, no, we don't get really good people, high tech computer people in Southwest China over in Chengdu or whatever. It's like too far. People want to go to Beijing and all that kind of stuff, and they don't know about us over here. So, but we got this in Chongqing, by where the guy lived. They had the Sichuan Fine Arts Institute, and during my marriage, I was insistent that I was going to China, and I was sending out resumes to all these places, and since they knew somebody patriotic or whatever that cared about helping China develop and everything, they got my resume, my Chinese translated resume, under his nose. So basically, the story went, and I want to say to JL in particular, I was like, I sort of felt like I'm such a backward guy. Here's JL going around to, I don't want to just travel on holiday. I want to go and I want to live, in another country and be there for a long time and really experience and engage in the culture. And I was like, if I do that, I was thinking to myself, well, I have to give up everything. And I was like, well, I was going to give up everything to go to England at one point. So let me try this thing. So basically, what had happened is, I guess from 96, 97, 98 or so, I was in the multimedia group and I started to learn computer graphics. And then I joined a graduate program in computer graphics and communication theory at Georgia State University. And it was pretty lousy. I could do computer graphics better than the people. The computer graphics teacher that they had in collaboration with the communication department was actually a chemistry PhD and really, a fraud um, of, typical white Southern ilk. Uh, so I was doing closed circuit television production. Eventually, when I left, it was like Tom Lamb and Reed Christenberry got me out of the clutches of the multimedia group that I was in, which was really a corrupt group, and then got me over into the web group. And I worked under Philip Mitchum, a name that I'm proud to remember. But Philip was a real gentle, kind of trusting guy, and he hired under him a web designer who was, on the one hand, really, really lazy, and on the other hand, virulently narcissistic personality disorder, and would just backstab his boss, act friendly to him and stuff like that. But then, of course, there were there was a guy, Julian Allen, which had been under Jane Leonard, and she was just sort of a southern, lady, kind of uppity muckety muck or whatever like that, and he had to really kiss her butt for like years. So I don't grudge him. He was wanting to move up, and enjoy. He was gay, and earlier, there was been a lot of discrimination and a lot of opportunities blocked. But it was a good time for him to move up, and unfortunately, Philip fell victim to his. That was the impression that I got. I'd like Philip and Julian maybe to come on my stream and talk about it, because I thought Philip was a very good guy. And he was mistreated, I felt, by his wife, and I liked working for him, and I felt like, he was too trusting, and he hired somebody who's just crazy, destructive narcissist, who really hurt his department, who was unmanageable. I really, when I came back to Georgia State years later, it was one of the contributions I think that I made to bring to their attention that this guy had been a very destructive force, and they got him out. Yeah, somebody like that can really tear things up. But Julian, I felt, was kind of selfish too. But I didn't want to stay there forever, and like when the next Iraq War, Afghanistan War, and everything was starting on bogus pretenses. I was like, I can't stand this. I'm sitting here up in this cubicle and all this comfort. I have a fancy schmancy condominium in downtown Atlanta, just absolutely. And it's like I can literally go home and sleep during lunch. It's just like, wow, it's awesome. Great place to work, and I could stay there for the rest of my life. But I just couldn't stomach, that they were saying that the world, needs to realize the deadly threat of the Iraqi nuclear WMDs of destruction. Because that's the story that's directly lifted from Meteor Menace. It's an old Pulp Fiction story of Doc Savage. Doc Savage is sort of like a superhero before Superman. So the kids that invented Superman um, were influenced by stuff like Doc Savage, and one of the it's like the Iraq WMD threat or whatever. That was the story in Doc Savage Meteor Menace, that the Tibetans had WMDs, and they were a nuclear threat to the world, and Doc Savage was going to have to intervene in Tibet to prevent the destruction of the world. Which is exactly the same thing they did with Iraq. Here's Iraq, just on the verge of collapse. After fighting a proxy war for the United States against Iran, and suffering all the depredations of the United States political machinations and so on. The United States helped Saddam's party come to power. Because they weren't a secular party, the counterpoint to Iranian fundamentalism, right? And then they're not satisfied with the leadership of the Ba'ath Party, so the United States facilitated Saddam's rise to power. And then poor Saddam, he failed to meet the United States wanted him to attack Iran and bring them down, and he couldn't do it. You kidding me? This guy can't beat Iran, and he's a threat to the world. That's so bogus. And also for it to be copied directly from an old Doc Savage novel where they used to say it was Tibet. We've got to attack Tibet. A lot of people don't realize this, and this is I want to ADHD over into Stan Lee. There's been some brouhaha about him recently and his greatness of Marvel and all that he created and everything like that. I was so disturbed by some of the things that Stan Lee put out that when I personally met Stan Lee in a hotel, all I could say was, I study comic books. And he was like, good! Yeah, the one of the things that's disturbing, you wonder in the whole saga of comic books being influential and stuff, and the influence of the propagandistic Freudian methodologies of the nephew of Sigmund Freud, Edward Bernays, and his machinations and all that stuff. If in the midst of that Stan Lee wasn't somehow engaging with like the nuclear weapons industry and so on, because he very persistently put out narratives about how healthy gamma radiation is. Your cosmic rays, this is great, you get some cosmic rays and you turn into the Fantastic Four. It's just like it's really harmful to tell kids that, or tell the general public a mantra of how the mystical powers of ionizing radiation, it kills you, it causes cancer and stuff. So that's really bad, Stan. You shouldn't have done that. But you always wonder, a guy like Stan, he's so tagged for inflating his own role in things and lying about what he created and who did what or whatever, that recently, when his old fibs were coming into the mainstream again, the Kirby family was complaining, because Jack Kirby was essentially it's like the Stalin school of falsification or something, but there was a meme that got put out with a picture of Jack Kirby, and it's like, hi, I'm Jack Kirby. I'm the creator of Stan Lee. It's like, that's one of the greatest memes I've seen in a long time. But the thing that I'm getting to is, I was on the Tibet thing and the threat of Tibet, and a lot of people don't realize this, but early Marvel comics. Well, I want to talk about in particular. This was not yet Marvel, I don't think, but it was the invention of the character Captain America. Was in issue number 2, the 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 angle of it, Captain America was to wake up America to the deadly threat to human civilization of Adolf Hitler and Tibet. Right. So don't take my word for it. Go back. You can probably find that online, or you can contact me directly. I should put it up, but um, in Captain America number 2, of course, Captain America's fighting Hitler, right? But the other half of the comic book is like, well, the Tibetans are in league with the mob, the Italian mafia, or something like that, and they're invading the United States. And so a military base, it's like Captain America's drilling on his military base, and his military. He's not wearing his Captain America costume when the Tibetans rush in and attack the base and everything like that. And they have these, you can't shoot them or something like that. They're with bullets or whatever. So you need to have superpowers or some special weapon in order to be able to kill a naked loincloth wearing Tibetan. I kid you not. They really did that. And this is, okay, it's really, these guys are dead now. And they lie so much. Like Stan Lee, he's like, if you ask him a question, he's like, what's the publicity? That's his angle. It's like, what can I gain publicity wise, and how can I change history to make me the source of everything and avoid trouble, right? So questions like, what's the story behind this racist demonization of the Tibetan people, right? This very Nazi looking stuff that you put out there. How did that come about? And it's I think it's an interesting question, because a person is, you get the impression if somebody's just like such a liar and, pulling the wool over people's eyes kind of guy, that he would be too superficial to consciously go into this, we've got to prepare militarily to invade Tibet because of the threat of the Tibetans, right? It's like you have to ask, well, since Meteor Menace was earlier, that was already in the Pulp Fiction as a threat. And there were some comic books that were like, oh, the mysterious Tibet you can go and get mystical. There's some kind of cowl-wearing green guy that's a Tibetan guy or whatever, and he's a good superhero. He's not an evil, bald-headed, maniacal monk in cahoots with the Luigi and the mob, or whatever. What I'm saying is that it's hard to know what really the truth is behind where those narratives came from, especially Stan Lee's dead, and if he was alive, he probably wouldn't tell the truth about it because he's such a liar. He'd like spin it some kind of way to avoid flack or make him look better. He has a reputation for that. That's why I say that. I don't want to be unfair to him. And of course, all this is speculation. And in terms of knowing, I don't think we'll ever know. I think we can just get a sense of probability. I feel, for example, the nuclear, like the DOE or something, got the message across to Marvel Comics that radiation is good for you. That's the message, that we're in the atomic age. We want to promote atomic power. We want the public to support, right? That Marvel Comics clearly got that message, right? Now, who said who to what, who made the decisions or whatever, we'll probably never know for sure. Because if they could gain money by having invented that, then they would say that they did. If they could lose money, they would say they didn't. Those are the kind of people that you're dealing with. 18 out of 30 daily objectives. My goodness. Um, so I know if JL, if you're watching this, and that since a lot of what I've been talking about is probably more appropriate for somebody with your knowledge and stuff like that. I need to let you get out of here. I can't imagine that you would want to go through this. um, but I don't know. You might think it's funny. I think it's funny a lot of the time. But deathmatch seconds tournament started. Okay. So I went. You were there. You left. I went from micro repair to multimedia. I went from multimedia to the web group. I went into a graduate program, and then in the midst of the graduate program, I went into um, studying Chinese to get up to like 2004 or whatever. So it was microcomputer repair, and then a multimedia group, and then the web group, and then finally multimedia group again, but it was multimedia group under Julian Allen. And I feel sorry about that because eventually Julian, kind of was not. I don't know if it was his fault that Philip lost his management position, but I did know, the reason I left from under Philip is because basically this guy, bad guy, was destroying everything that we were trying to do, and he was under Philip, and Philip couldn't control him and stop him doing what he was doing. So I was like, I need to get out of here. This is a train wreck. So then I went under Julian, and that's when I got into closed circuit television production for the Robinson College of Business, and that's the whole story, till China. And then China is the next 7 years. And then the return from China on the death of my mother is, I guess, early 2012, like maybe January 2012. So there's another 11 years in between there. But I hope that we'll get. I'm expanding my classes, my training classes, and I hope maybe you'll be able to come in and set up some classes or something. Because we shouldn't, if what's past is past, and I think the important thing between us is that we're like-minded people. Well, I don't know. I ended up spending a number of years teaching propaganda in the United States in China, teaching propaganda in China based on United States propaganda theory and communication theory or whatever. And I've got a more clear sense in my mind that, we really don't know each other. People don't, you don't know what's really, 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 really inside. Even the individual doesn't know. What comes out of that person is often something that's triggered from something earlier that the individual doesn't have a real great grasp of. But having said that, the thing I was trying to say is that in the sense that I had the impression that we were like-minded in our concern about the world and about human rights and stuff like that we should keep the channels of communication open and try to do good things while we have the opportunity to do so. Help make a better world. But yeah, let's get. I'm gonna get onto this combat mode or whatever, and see if the crowd's out there. They want to join some tournament death matches. Is a Vault Blitz started? It has not. Only 2 deathmatch tickets? Let me try a tournament. Ooh, it's an OG Rasta. I sort of want to wait for him. I do want to wait for him. Come on, OG Rasta. Better not join match with Rasta. And if you want to live, come on, Rasta. 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 Rasta, man, where are you? Okay. I really want to wait for at least one of these guys. All 3 of these, I'm interested. Electro Op, I've had some good battles with Electro Op, but OG Rasa is definitely awesome. And my squad power is not too way gone, far gone from him. Um, I'm gonna pester her. Here come OG Rasta. Man, honey, you want to see somebody use a Helix rack? You should join my. Yeah, she's like Helix rack wannabe. OG Rasta got some serious Helix rack action going on. All right, so I'm gonna try to support him. Where he at? There you go. Ooh, he's long on me. Jessica. That's what it is. Ah! Dang it. See, I said her name and she. Hey. They're kicking our butts, man. Should not have done that. That was stupid. I didn't want her to think that I was too uppity. We're gonna lose, man. Keep going like this. I need them to come over here. Can you shoot that person, please? All right, here go Rasta with it. Man, I ain't playing this time. He's gonna. Oh, he got in there. That's right, because yeah. I guess you can use the Helix rack here. Cannot stay with him. Oh, she. That girl ain't playing, man. I don't want to get close quarters with any of these guys. That's all I got here. God, Jessica, you're horrible. 103,000, a Zephyr with 103,000 hit points. No wonder I can't kill you. Come on, stay in team. Stay in team. Let me get some new music on here. Hold on. I hope I'm doing my audio right this morning. All right. There you go. Hey, that worked. Or did it? Was that me? Where's Jessica? I wonder if she has mods. That's why I'm always suspicious, you know. It's like, if you're winning so much, why do you run and disappear in the next match? Sorry. See, these guys are much lower powered. Oh, I say that. Let me run. Dang it. Oh. A Zephyr with 103,000 hit points. Phew. All right. These tournament death matches, it's hard. It's harder to, you know, really run your mouth and just because you're getting different groups of people, and sometimes they're cheating. You know, they've got mods and stuff like that, and stuff like that. You know, they've got some kind of hacks that they're doing that make their hit points go back up. Dang you! Let me go over here and overcharge Rasta. Is he still alive? Hope so. Yeah. Man, that was a good little lay, man. When you lay that egg, that turret, you know it's good if you hear it non-stop firing. That's a good lay. A lot of times you put them down and, man, people just instantly move. Oh, man. I gotta go get me some deathmatch chicken. OG Rasta on. OG Rasta in the house. Novice. I have moved up a bracket. See what Rasta said. Yo, you. Yeah, you. Oh, okay. I should have tried to ask some people. That's a bot standing right up in the open. Q-tip. Yeah, I knew it was. Oh. Get you. Stop trying to shoot that freeze ray. Die. Oh man, I got a freeze ray action still on my behind. Get away. Somebody kill those guys. They're coming. Carnita. That's like some taco meat or something. Isn't that what carnita? It's taco meat. Carnita. Yeah. That's some Latinx flavor or whatever. Miscellaneous pork. Za. That's what they call it in Chinese. Man, these guys. Oh. Kill by bot. 20. Oh, man. We got it. These guys ain't playing, man. They jacked up. Good shot, Dave. Pat yourself on the back. Killed by her again. Poor lady. And she up in there. Yeah. Through now. And they tore me up. We're losing now, man. My fault. It's Commander Clank. Colonel Clank. We're over, man. What has happened? Taste my long. It's Commander Clank. We're through. Oh, nothing like starting off the day like a wet donkey fart. staying in team. See who these people are. Get to know them better. Turkey. The jade. Help. The cheat got me again. Did I forget how to play this game or something? I wonder. You to dodge, cheat. Get back. Tearing us up. Out. What is all this crap, man? That's so overpowered. Nobody. Stasis base. I'm kind of in onslaught mode, you can see. But yeah, our score is like way better. Don't fucking kill me before I kill you. Ooh, I don't want to be. I need to be like right down on this guy. Double KO. Good. $96 to $27. I gotta do something right quick. I'll be right back. Man, where's my dang? It's supposed to work. This is bad, man. What the hell? I'm gonna try to fix it. Well, I guess it's still a pretty cool layout. And this gives me a sense that I could really bring this over. Well, that's not it. Control Z. What is that on? But yeah, I'm supposed to have a really cool Stream Elements overlay here, and it's not loading up so much for Stream Elements. We'll find out. You know, if Stream Elements is gonna suck, we're gonna find out eventually. All right. So, bad day, man. Well, I think we're winning some of them, but I'm not doing my replay buffer button beside it thing, which I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to learn something new. Should have my comic book up where I can read it too. Look at her, snoring there. Why do I hate her? What is the deep intellectual, complex, and subtle reason that I hate her for? The deep intellectual, highly complex, and subtle reason obviously is she's a slob. Deathmatch ticket? Yes! Achievement. Ares. Absorb 1,300,000 damage with a wide shield ability. Level 3. Okay. That means that I'm always hiding behind stuff with my wide shield up. Because we're almost, well, we're not, I haven't been on here for a year yet. Man, it's 6 a.m. and none of my crowd is on. I need to clear out that friends list. Man. These people aren't playing this game. Yeah, we'll see. Huh, you darned thing. You finally decided to get up. What do you mean, Ellen, by coming into a kitchen in that kind of outfit? What do you mean? What do I mean by this outfit? I just finished taking my shower. What do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean? What kind of outfit is that where you come in a dripping wet bathrobe? It's perfectly logical. Oh. I can't get undressed in a movie, so I had to take my shower in my bathroom. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I shouldn't go over here. This is where I come to Eric's. We get close quarters. Not advisable. Ouch. There you go. Bless the gosh darn blankety heck. Why did I ever marry her? I know, I'll go see my girlfriend Rosie at her simple little apartment. Rosie is young, fresh. When I'm away from her, her vision haunts me. A strong, lithe, graceful body, sleek and tan, slender, delicate wrists and ankles. That's me I'm talking about, you understand. Rosie's alright too, in a pinch. Need to build up some deathmatch tickets. Hey, buddy, what's the matter? Cat got your tongue? No. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Dang you. Could look at the map, I suppose. I don't think I could have got away. Sure. Rosie, gosh darn it, when I see your ruby lips leaning hungrily towards me, I get a yearning, aching, stomach twisting, aching, yearning, paining, aching, and I lean my lips forward and I want. Anison? I want to dance. My darling, now that our lips have met in wild embrace, now that your hair is delightfully untousled, your lips delightfully unsmeared, my emotions are condensed into a word which is, how come? Natural born ruby lips and a Dacron wrinkle proof hair. What else? Okay, Rosie, let the sucker go. I got the picture. Darn it, what's this? A gosh awful frame up? Give me that for slugging our film, you blackguard. No! Dang it, they're really kicking our ass. Excuse my language. Man, it's so lonely up in here. Dr. War? No. must be destroyed. Come on and heal me, Redacted. Toblerone. He needed to be gone. That dang rocket launcher mortar stuff. Oh. Man, they are tearing us up. What is happening to us? That just way overpowered. That freaking missile right that guy had. Man, you annoy us. What you tar paper? Offer me something. Offer me a pain in the butt. I'm gonna get shot. Talking to me when I'm fighting. Send me chats. Go away. Lord, see? Dog hype. I don't need to be hyping no dogs. What is it? Fool. Oh. Slain by PEMDAS. Oh. The humiliation. We're completely devastated here by bots. Why do I get matched with a bot team that doesn't have all this fancy gear? I'll often wonder if it's like a periodic thing. Your numbers start getting better, so they unbalance the bot matching to grind you back down to close to 60 or 50%. I don't have a fusion cannon with a sentinel. I hit the button. I remembered to do it. I remembered to do it. Doghype.com. That's a really great marketing thing, man. Dog hype. Doggy hype. Who needs that? Oh, on central control point. I'm so tired of it. Take your fusion cannon to the other side, and I will see you there. Hopefully not. Ouch. Well, dang. Oh, there he is. There you go. Better than I thought. I hit the button. I remembered to hit the button. Oh, I hate this. Well, I need to learn to love it. It's kind of one of those luck of the draw things. I'm just going, man. I'm going straight over here. I don't care if they kill me. I'm just going straight. Straight on. Straight on. Heading straight in. If I instant die, I don't care. I do not care. Do not care. This guy. I don't care. Man, better run. Die. Ooh, I hate that dang central control point. Don't have it. Ooh, I hate you. No, I don't really hate you. I got a bad attitude. Like I came in here with a bad attitude. Could have done better. Ouch. Ooh, the chat bots are out in force. You crazy? You talking to me? You go back and you tell all them bots that I am an annoyance, and don't ever go to my channel and hope that my channel will never be a success. That's what you need to do. And did you use that what is it, that they got that new artificial intelligent way to correct your language softener thing, make it sound girly or something like? Did you use that on your text? I wonder. That's the thing now that they have in addition to Grammarly. What? Get up. See, I'm messing up with my concentration, man. Go away. I want you to die. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want you to die too. Turkey. Oh. And you shooting me from the side with a Voltaic RPG 8, 2 of them? God. No fair. Well, there goes your Voltaic RPG 8 out of this match, at least. Help me. Help me. I forgot I could do that. Can I jack your random? Come on, Icarus. Oh, I love you. Give me those heels. Now I jacked you around again, didn't I? Oh no. You, ooh, you so. Surprise! Come back here, you chicken. Uh-oh. My fence dropped down. I need that fence longevity implant. That's what I need. Somebody give me that. Somebody send me some acorns, man. Oh, I just stepped like right on a minefield, man. I'm just like that, not paying attention. Okay, well I'm done. Wow. Look at this Juggernaut. What am I in with Juggernauts, man? They suck. MVP too. Look at that. How we doing? Man, why did I do that? Man, I can tell I'm messed up in the head right now. Blew my dang heels. Hey, Graviton Bean. No, Fragment Gun 8. 140,000. Ooh, they clustering over here. Pin them down. Corvax, stupid bot. Grenade. No, Javelin Rack 12. Yeah. How come they got all that? It's gorgeous Al. The fearsome, gorgeous Al. Please don't kill gorgeous. I'll do anything you say. Thanks. I remembered to press the button. Get close to me. There you go. Come on, sweetie. Come on, closer. 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 Stay close to me, darling. Closer. 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 I need to be closer to you. Oh! Ouch. Should I have turned to hit the guy with the arc torrent since the Guardian was like on a reload thing or something? I really should have. That was one of those moments of indecision where I was like, just stay locked on, man. Don't divide your. That's the Korean Taekwondo teacher thing he told me. This is ridiculous, man. Look at that. Javelin Rack 12 and Javelin Rack 16. How come bots have that stuff? They're trying to get me to buy things. Go ahead. That's fine. Very humorous. Javelin Rack 16, Javelin Rack 12. Fine, man. Do I look? We'll discuss it on Discord and we'll find a solution together. Man, we need the final solution of the marketing question. Nuklearna, alltså weaponized. Alltså. Well, they got a new dance and it go like this. With the name of the dance, the peppermint twist. You learn to do this, the peppermint twist. Meet me, baby, down on 45th Street. Where the peppermint twisters meet. And you learn to do this. Double KO. I needed that on my dang MD. I appreciate you, buddy. Come on, drop me down on that dang point. Come on, give me my robot. No. See? Too freaking late. Oh, you saw him. Yeah, you bet we won. I got to get hydration behind it. Tournament deathmatch tickets. Whoa. There was one more computer I was supposed to check before I came out, and I didn't do it. But I think it's okay. Um, okay, my CPL 0. It means I'm done. Almost. I think that means I'm going to save my tournament deathmatch tickets. Can you imagine being position 1 on this? 800. Shoot. This is as good as it gets for a while. I need to explore. I need to settle into these upgrades so I can really feel it. Because this is going to be a long haul. energy 14. Could you imagine me with an MD that has a 16 power weapon? Or even 2 8s? Fierce? Let me go into the look at the weapons. Well, no, okay. No, yeah, well, okay, let's go here. Weapons. Carbine 12 and an autocan 4. That would be a cool gun. 7,500 acorns. Jeez, that's gonna take months. A railgun 16, 8,275. Javelin rack 12 with an autocannon 4. Combination. I'm dreaming about the future. I'm sorry. I need to get back on where I need to go, which is off of this account and onto my daughter's account. Is there a Vault Blitz? No. Riley. Minigun! Oh. Turkey. Man, I want the thing. Spark Blossom. What's all these dang miniguns? We're dead. What the hell was that? Oh. Rocket Mortar 8 and a Rocket Mortar 12. Yeah, that will do it. So, I want to be very close to you. What is that? 2 Javelin Rockets for 35,000. I'll do it. MVP? What the hell? I remember to hit the button next to the stop replay buffer beside it thing. I remembered. Be right back.
Since 1941, the United States has been fully entangled. Now as we move into a new era, a yearning for American entanglement may be returning in various guises. Can America at long last come home? The United States does in fact enjoy the luxury of some genuine choices for the first time since 1945. America and its allies have won the Cold War. Thus, we had no genuine choices when we invaded South Vietnam, overthrew the democratic capitalist government of Guatemala in 1954 and maintained the rule of murderous gangsters ever since, run by far the most extensive international terror operations in history against Cuba from the early 1960s and Nicaragua through the 1980s, sought to assassinate Lumumba and installed and maintained the brutal and corrupt Mobutu dictatorship, backed Trujillo, Somoza, Marcos, Duvalier, the generals of the Southern Cone, Suharto, the racist rulers of Southern Africa, and a whole host of other major criminals. And on, and on. We could do nothing else, given the threat to our existence. But now, the enemy has retreated, so we can perhaps satisfy our yearning for entanglement in the affairs of others. Though, as others add, our yearning for democracy may yet impel us to persist in our noble endeavors in defense of freedom. With choices available for the first time, we can turn to constructive programs for the Third World, as liberal humanists urge, or leave the undeserving poor to wallow in their misery, the conservative position. Expressing the more caring liberal view, Thomas Schoenbaum, Executive Director of the Dean Rusk Center of International and Comparative Law at the University of Georgia, calls for more finely tuned and differentiated policies in the complex and heterogeneous areas of the Third World. Constrained by the overwhelming imperative of resisting Soviet aggression throughout the world, we have been unable to develop such policies. But now, perhaps, we have reached the end of the Cold War, and the good guys won. We may therefore hope that the Soviets will mute their long-standing campaign to support communist revolutions and totalitarian regimes in the Third World, so that the US may be able to abandon its traditional posture, that priority should be given to stopping communist expansion, and adopt more positive policies. 5. In other respects too, the public record conforms to the conventions of NSC 68. In particular, it is widely recognized that the very existence of the Soviet Union constitutes aggression. Diplomatic historian John Lewis Gaddis, one of the most respected figures of liberal scholarship on the Cold War, explains that the Allied intervention immediately after the Bolshevik Revolution was defensive in nature, and for Woodrow Wilson, was inspired above all else by his fervent desire to secure self-determination in Russia by forceful installation of the rulers we select. The invasion was defensive because it was in response to a profound and potentially far-reaching intervention by the new Soviet government in the internal affairs, not just of the West, but of virtually every country in the world, namely, the revolution's challenge, which could hardly have been more categorical, to the very survival of the capitalist order. The security of the United States was in danger already in 1917, not just in 1950. And intervention was therefore entirely warranted in defense against the change of the social order in Russia and the announcement of revolutionary intention. 6. Gaddis's contemporary evaluation recapitulates the immediate Western reaction to the Bolshevik Revolution. It was articulated by Dwight C. Poole, American counselor of the embassy in Russia, in a memorandum for Secretary of State Lansing entitled Concerning the Purposes of the Bolsheviki, especially with respect to a world revolution. Poole wrote that the vital problem for the United States was to steer the world between the Scylla of reaction on the one hand and the Charybdis of Bolshevism on the other. The Charybdis of Bolshevism, however, is the more ominous threat, because it is the essence of the Bolshevik movement that it is international and not national in character, aimed directly at the subversion of all governments. 7. In practice, this Scylla of reaction must be preferred, with regrets, among liberals, if the passage is too narrow. Similarly, Oxford historian Norman Stone takes the position that elaborate debate over the origins of the Cold War is beside the point, because the very character of the Soviet state was one of the greatest single causes of the Cold War in the 1940s. The test of Soviet intentions is its withdrawal from Eastern Europe and reduction of armaments to defensive armaments, proper to its own economic level, thus far below the West, which, furthermore, need not be limited to defensive armaments except in the expansive sense of defense that interprets every act of violence as defense of legitimate interests. 8. Note that the issue is not the desirability of the breakup of the Soviet internal and foreign empires or of radical reduction of armaments, but rather the conception of the Cold War in the Western defensive response to the very character of the Soviet state. Much the same perception holds at the left extreme of mainstream opinion. Senior editor Hendrik Hertzberg of the New Republic, who is at the outer limits, writes that revisionist quibbles aside, the basic cause of the Cold War was totalitarianism, more precisely, totalitarian ambition.
What is it?
Internally, Soviet totalitarianism imposed an all-powerful, all-seeing, perfectly wise state that
I can't.
would answer every human need and would therefore obviate and obliterate every competing human institution.
What is it?
Its external manifestation was a belief that all other social and political systems, judged by the standard of historical inevitability, were inferior and destined to die. In short, the basic cause of the Cold War was the internal nature of the Soviet system and its faith in its ultimate success as history unfolded, an ideological challenge that could not be tolerated. 9. The underlying assumption is that the U.S. system of social organization and power, and the ideology that accompanies it, must be universal. Anything short of that is unacceptable. No challenge can be tolerated, even faith in the historical inevitability of something different. That being the case, every action taken by the United States to extend its system and ideology is defensive. We may put aside revisionist quibbles about the events of history, now that their irrelevance has been demonstrated. Journalism adopts the same stance as a matter of course. Thus, a Washington Post news story on defense spending observes that with the fading of the Soviet threat, the world has entered a new era. After 40 years of containing an aggressive and expansionist Soviet Union, we must now rethink the doctrine of containment that organized our Western security strategy to protect the world from an expansionist and hostile Soviet bloc. 10. That we have been laboring to protect the entire world from Soviet aggression is uncontroversial, a truism that requires no evidence or even comment. Go to the next segment. 4C Chapter 8, Section 7. 5. Rethinking the Third World, Washington Post Book World, October 23, 1988, a dismissive review of Gabriel Kolko's Confronting the Third World, Pantheon, 1988, which, Schoenbaum alleges, is flawed by failure to propose better policies and by omission of facts that do not support the author's thesis. One example is given, that American lives were in danger when the U.S. invaded the Dominican Republic. No justification for aggression had it been true, and long discredited. 6. Gaddis, The Long Peace,
That's white privilege
Oxford,
right there, man.
1987, 43. See Necessary Illusions, Appendix 2, for further discussion. 7. Cited by Michael Cran, U.S. Policy Toward Economic Nationalism in Latin America, 1917 to 1929, Scholarly Resources, 1990, 13F, 52, emphasis in original. Also David Schmitz, The United States and Fascist Italy, U of North Carolina, 1988, 10. 8th tome, Is the Cold War Really Over? Sunday Telegraph, London, November 27, 1988. 9. Hertzberg, Contribution to Symposium on the End of the Cold War. The Coming Challenge for Journalism, Deadline, Center for War, Peace, and the News Media, Summer 1989. 10. Patrick Tyler, WP Weekly, August 13, 1990. Deterring Democracy, Copyright 1991, 1992 by Noam Chomsky. Published by South End Press. Chapter 1, Cold War, Back and Fancy Segment 4/20. Previous segment. Next segment. Contents Overview. Archive. ZNET. The nobility of the defender of freedom is also standard intellectual fare. Thus, according to Michael Howard, Regius Professor of Modern History at Oxford, for 200 years the United States has preserved almost unsullied the original ideals of the Enlightenment, the belief in the God-given rights of the individual, the inherent rights of free assembly and free speech, the blessings of free enterprise, the perfectibility of man, and, above all, the universality of these values. In this nearly ideal society, the influence of elites is quite limited. But the world, he laments, does not appreciate this magnificence, the United States does not enjoy the place in the world that it should have earned through its achievements, its generosity, and its goodwill since World War II, as illustrated in such contemporary gradises as Indochina, the Dominican Republic, the Philippines, El Salvador and Guatemala, to mention a few. The many candidates, just as belief in the God-given rights of the individual and the universality of this doctrine for 200 years is illustrated by a century of literal human slavery and effective disenfranchisement of blacks for another century, genocidal assault on the native population, the slaughter of hundreds of thousands of Filipinos at the turn of the century, of millions of Indo-Chinese, of some 200,000 Central Americans in the past decade, and a host of other examples. Again, mere fact is an irrelevance in the domain of pure thought. To take another example from the field of scholarship, consider the study of the Vietnam trauma by Paul Kattenberg, one of the few early dissenters on Vietnam within the U.S. government and now Jacobson Professor of Public Affairs at the University of South Carolina. 12 Kattenberg is concerned to identify the salient features central to the American tradition and experience which have made the United States perform its superpower role in what we might term a particularistic way. He holds that principles and ideals hold a cardinal place in the U.S. national ethos and crucially distinguish U.S. performance in the superpower role. These principles and ideals were laid down by the Founding Fathers, those pure geniuses of detached contemplation, and were refined by subsequent leading figures of thought and action from John Adams to Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt. The principles were tested and retested in the process of settling the continent, healing the North-South reach, developing the economy from the wilderness in the spirit of free enterprise, and fighting World Wars I and II, not so much for interests as for the survival of the very principles by which most Americans were guiding their lives. It is this unique legacy that explains the way Americans act in the superpower role, which they approach devoid of artifice or deception, with the mindset of an emancipator. In such a mindset, one need not feel or act superior, or believe one is imposing one's ethos or values on others, since one senses naturally that others cannot doubt the emancipator's righteous cause any more than his capacities. In this respect, the American role as superpower, particularly in the early post-war years, is very analogous to the role that can be attributed to a professor, mentor, or other type of emancipator. Thus, the professor is obviously capable and he is clearly disinterested. Moreover, like the American superpower, the professor does not control the lives or destinies of his students. They remain free to come or go. It will help us understand America's performance and psychology as a superpower, and the whys and wherefores of its Indochina involvement, if we bear in mind this analogy of the American performance in the superpower role with that of the benevolent but clearly egocentric professor, dispensing emancipation through knowledge of both righteousness and the right way to the deprived students of the world. This is not intended as irony or caricature, but is presented seriously, is taken seriously, and is not untypical of what we find in the literature, not at the lunatic fringe, but at the respectable and moderately dissident end of the mainstream spectrum. That being the case, it is only natural that James Reston, along the leading political thinker of the New York Times, should say at his retirement that I don't think there's anything in the history of the world to compare with the commitments this country has taken in defense of freedom. While at his post, Reston had performed yeoman service in the cause of freedom, as when he took pride in the U.S. contribution to the huge slaughter in Indonesia in 1965, and explained in properly somber tones, as U.S. military force was demolishing what was left of the South Vietnamese countryside in late 1967, that this was being done on the principle that military power shall not compel South Vietnam to do what it does not want to do, out of our loyalty to the deepest conviction of Western civilization, namely, that the individual belongs not to the state but to his creator, and thus has rights that no magistrate or political force may violate. 13. The official doctrine as provided by government spokesmen, the media, political commentary, and a broad range of scholarship is illustrated, for example, in the report of the National Bipartisan Kissinger Commission on Central America. The international purposes of the United States in the late 20th century are cooperation, not hegemony or domination. Partnership, not confrontation. A decent life for all, not exploitation. Walter Laqueur and Charles Krauthammer write that unlike the Soviet Union, The U.S. does not want to convert anyone to a specific political,
All my
social, or
Strong
economic
stuff is
system.
stout.
Samuel Huntington informs us that the overall effect of American power on other societies was to further liberty, pluralism, and democracy. The conflict between American power and American principles virtually disappears when it is applied to the American impact on other societies. Krauthammer, a much-respected neoliberal, assures us further that every U.S. president from FDR to LBJ aimed at promotion abroad of both freedom and world order, a mission revived in the Reagan Doctrine, which provided a coherent policy of support for those who are risking their lives on every continent from Afghanistan to Nicaragua to defy Soviet-supported aggression. Ronald Reagan, quoted with admiration and approval, and which committed the U.S. not only to freedom and human rights, but also to constructing American-style socio-political systems in the Third World, though without wanting to convert anyone to a specific political, social, or economic.
This current text right here, it underscores the problem of Stalin's position about socialism in one country. Because if you look at all these, it's like in the United States would use the United Nations to block other countries from helping their target country that they're trying to smash, like Nicaragua or whatever, until Nicaragua was at a point where they had no choice but to seek help from Russia or like affiliated groups, and thereby prove this whole thing. It's Soviet aggression or whatever like that. So this Trotsky's it underscores the seeming correctness of Trotsky's position that it's a big strategic disaster for the Soviet Union to not continue to globally support anti-imperialist movements and sovereignty movements and human rights movements, and to focus on their own internal situation, because that just allowed the other satellites of the United States to participate in this gradual demonization and smashing down, or well, not gradual, but continuous, unrelenting smashing down, which continues to this day. There's a vast according to Ricardo's economic theory, there's a vast amount of resources there in Russian territory that, because Russia is underdeveloped, they harm global prosperity, according to the theory of economic advantage, by trying to develop their own resources in their own country. That constitutes aggression against the entire world. Right? That's how the economic theory works and how it's interpreted. Of course, it's bullshit, right? But on the principle of comparative advantage, since the United States is most advanced, all the resources under the ground in Russia should, of course, for the benefit of all humanity, belong to the United States. That's Ricardo for you. We need to get rid of that stuff, folks. It's going to doom the planet. So, kids, pay attention. Make sure you read a little bit. And if you get on my stream, I'll try to put books up when I'm not in a talkative mood. But I'm going to go and see if my wife is, kind of in her veiled manner trying to get a ride to work, because she wants to hang around and be lazy for a while. So let me go check on that. And puts me behind, but maybe I'll come back with a music stream if I'm feeling well enough for it. But take care. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on the Reading Cow from Another World thing show that this is. Until then, goodbye.